Hi, Danny. Well, when Dumbo flies, the theme is triumphant, and you're no stranger to doing triumphant themes for movies. How did you hear that particular theme and compare and contrast it with other triumphant scores you've done?
I don't really know. I mean, when I wrote Dumbo's theme, I wrote it as a bittersweet, sad thing, you know, because that's always what makes me excited. And sadder it is writing it, the happier I get. Composer. So, but I do try to put my themes through a bit of an acid test, which means I have to have the melody I like. Can I make it triumphant? Can I make it quirky? Can I make it silly? It's like I got to put it through each of these things. Like whatever it's going to be asked to do, I need to know that it'll do that. I don't want to find out when I get there that, oh my God, this music just doesn't want to get big or triumphant. So that's part of my process, like put it through all those things. And I learned, you know, okay, when it gets big, it's going to go this way, it's going to do this. And I didn't know at that point there'd be quite as much triumph. Very early on, Tim was like, I like that. And whenever Dumbo's in the air, it's like, do that thing. And I go, really? Don't you think we should? No, do that thing. He was very specific. And it's like, all right, that's what we're doing. And so it's like once I hit on that once, Tim really caught on to that moment. He really wanted to bring it back. And we redid a couple of cues, right, Derek?
More.
Yeah. It's like, he's flying, and the word he used the most in the score was soaring. He really wants to make sure that Dumbo soars. And I go, but don't we want Dumbo to be heartbreaking? Oh yeah, you got that. That's right. I really want to make sure he soars. But when he leaves his mother, yeah, that'll be fine. He soars. And Tim and I, it'll be like that. There'll be one element of the thing that he's really focused on, and the rest of it will be, yeah, that's fine. You're doing fine. It's all fine. The sad stuff's all fine. And so for me, of course, the fun part is not having seen it as a kid. I didn't have a lot of attachment other than I knew that I saw it actually when I got the call from Derek about doing it. I watched it. It's the first time I'd ever seen it from beginning to end. What was crazy is Pink Elephant's on Parade. I know that really well. I don't know how I knew it, but I knew it. Casey Jr. Oh, of course I know that. How do I know that? I didn't see it as a kid. There are all these elements, I said, hoping we could bring rap in, but the thing that excited me the most was that it's going to be some heartbreak in there, and that's really where I get my jollies.
For Ehren and Justin, because this spoke to you as a child, and recreating this as it did for me. I'm smiling through the whole thing, like, oh, this is what they did with that. When you were writing it, how did you come up with ways that you were going to incorporate some of those iconic moments from the original, like the Pink Elephants on Parade?
I just thought about things that I would that I associated so strongly with the story. Pink Elephants, Casey Jr., firefighting clowns. And these are all things without going back and watching the 1941 film.
We all have firefighting clowns in our past somewhere in our own lives. I find.
Well, in your band, yes, firefighting clown. Just the things that I remember. It's kind of like Danny talks about, just zeitgeist memories or things in the back of the head. That I remember that moment. I remember that image. And of course, in writing the film, went back and revisited the animated movie a number of times. But I really tried to get to that place of what are the core things that I associate with this. What are the simple things I associate with this story, and those have to be there.
As any Tim Burton fan will tell you, it's always a comfort and a sense of joy to see your costumes on some of the best actors who have collaborated with him in the past as well. Were any of these legendary actors' previous roles in Tim Burton movies influences on your designs for the characters. For instance, we see a lovely white and black pinstripe outfit on Michael, which really evoked kind of a nice homage to Beetlejuice, but I wasn't sure if that was intentional or not. Could you elaborate on that?
So not. But you know, I mean, we like a stripe, Tim and I, so there's always going to be a couple stripes in the movie, no matter how you do it, whether it's horizontal, vertical, it's a graphic thing. I think we both have a graphic sensibility that binds us together in the sort of design world. But that was just happenstance that Michael was the worthy wearer of the stripe in this one.
I should mention that I took a picture of that to this guy who makes suits for me, because we were building something for the Hollywood Ball night before Christmas, and I said, "This is the stripes I want in a suit. You keep bringing me pinstripes." I go, look at this picture."
Should have called me.
Next time.
You went to Hollywood toy costume. Right?
All right, and last one out there, right over there, sir. Yep, you.
Hi, Edgar from All in Hollywood. What was for the producers? What was the most difficult decision about knowing what to keep in this movie from the original movie?
Well, I suppose early on we made the decision that we wanted to transport an audience to a circus world, to Dumbo's circus world in the golden age of the circus. And that meant that it needed to feel real. And so early on we made a decision to not feature talking animals. In that the most important characters in the animated film, Dumbo doesn't speak. Mrs. Jumbo, I think, has one or two lines, and that's it. So that felt organic to this story, to let Dumbo be a classic Charlie Chaplin, Buster Keaton-esque, expressive silent film performer, and make the circus around him feel real. So there were moments when we thought, well, wouldn't it be nice to have Timothy Q. Mouse talk? He's so cute. And we just don't want to break the spell of where we were asking the audience to go, to time travel with us too.
Yeah, I noticed it was put in a way, like there was a mouse there.
Yeah, he's there. Yeah, that's what I mean. He's whispering in Dumbo's ear in the frames between the scenes. Yeah.
Tim Burton, executive producer and director. Colin Farrell. Nico Parker. Finley Hobbins. Eva Green. Danny DeVito. And Michael Keaton.
We'll get there. Watch this.
No problem, guys. No pressure.
Yes!
Here we go.
He didn't fall this time. No, he didn't. Look at that. Oh, God, Mike. Jesus. He's such a clown.
Has anyone noticed how much Beto O'Rourke loves having a hand mic? He just loves having a hand mic.
Is he in the movie? Who's that?
Beto.
Yeah.
Beto O'Rourke.
You mean that guy? The politician?
It's going well so far, isn't it?
Easy. Oh my.
Sorry, I saw a hand mic and it just reminded me.
Welcome to the DeVito and Keaton show, where pratfalls are a thing.
I'll tell you another thing that I know.
You guys, speaking of performance, there's something that this movie really illuminated for me, which is watching performers is magic. Can we just go down the line, starting with you, Tim? Yeah, I'm looking at you. Just which performer in a circus do you love the most? Which of you identified with the most, if there is one? Yeah.
None of it. I mean, it's funny, I made like circus movies, but I never really liked the circus. But I like the idea of it. I like the idea that sort of concept when you were a child of running away to the circus. It was sort of just a phrase that sort of stuck with a lot of people. And I think that's the idea of, not the circus per se, but the idea of being with a bunch of other weird people from around the world that can't get regular jobs. That kind of
Colin, was there a performer that you always loved more than the others?
No, I've never seen a circus. I've never.
Never?
Never.
Except in the world of Tim
Except
Burton?
in the world of Tim Burton's imagination, coming to a cinema near you. Maybe a seal.
Fair enough.
Because I used to play football.
Nico, what about you?
I think probably the contortionists. Like when they climbed on top of each other, it was because I could never do any of that. I just thought all of it was incredible. And then the cake top dances as well. Because I got to watch that really recently. That was cool.
Awesome. Finley?
Probably the jugglers, because you have an excuse if you go wrong. You can throw stuff at people's faces.
Finley.
That's the best reason that I've ever heard. Eva, what about you?
I mean, me, I would have to say trapeze people, aerialist. I've always been petrified of heights, like a real phobia. And thanks to Mr. Tim Burton, I've overcome my fear. I trained.
Anybody needs any help with any problems? You don't like clowns, heights, anything? Out in the lobby after the show.
Danny, how about you?
I really love the aerialists, the high wire tightrope walkers. They really astound me. So it's balance and grace and daring and all the things that I lack. Okay.
All the things that you're known for, Danny.
Yes.
You've seen the film. They have not yet.
They have.
Oh, me? The snake. Actually, to be the snake. Not the snake handler, the snake. I'm with him, the aerialist and Eva. First of all, more than anything else, what I want to do is fly. That would be it for me. I have those flying dreams. And I say that like I think everybody has a flying dream.
I think that's
a
relatively accurate.
Yes. But the aerialists do knock me out, and all that stuff, and the trapeze artists, yeah.
You end up flying in movies, actually, more than most performers, too.
Name one. Self-promotion. No, go ahead.
Mr. Mom is what I was saying.
Whoa, all right, besides that one. No, name one, because I know where you're going, and Tim and I are ready for this. Go ahead.
Can you talk about what it's like to work with Tim Burton?
I can, but here's the deal. If we're going to say Batman...
It's like my own funeral. Let me leave the room.
I know you hate this part. Sorry.
All the way back to you now. Everybody
let's take it back to
say
Tim.
something. I think he's brilliant. I think he's just a genius. And his artistry is just astounding. And you give a talented person like Tim a subject like Dumbo with all the great meaning and messages and metaphors. And what does he do? He sends it off into the stratosphere, and he's one of a kind, and he's just amazing, and we love him so much. And we like to see him squirm.
Hush.
Come on, I gotta be buried in 5 minutes. So wrap it up, will you?
It's true. I'm sorry, you're going to get sick of this. It's a rare thing to work with an original and to be in the thick of it, to be right in the middle of piece art. Really, we do have to stop this now because he is getting sick of this. But it's true. It's absolutely true.
But there's only 4 or 5 more people left. Okay, so go ahead.
Yeah,
now
this
you
will
go
really
ahead.
fast. This is no problem. Let's talk about actually you two being the newbies. This is basically your first films, right, you guys?
Yeah.
So you kind of had Colin Farrell there to shepherd you, which seems really fortunate.
No shepherding needed, trust me.
No, he was.
Nico be like, Colin, you're 2 feet off your mark.
I did that, yeah.
And so what was your first day on set like? Finley, what take us back to that.
Well, I can't really remember much from the first day, but with Nico, I remember one of the first days of filming. It was like we were in our costumes and we were just going in for like a costume check, and then we would have done, I think, one of the first scenes, and then Danny walked past and we just did that, and it was 5 seconds, and each second felt literally like an eternity of just going, hi, how are you? Hi, how are you? And then we met Colin, and then Ava, and then Michael, and then Tim, and it was just terrifying each time the first time. But then we.
So seeing you're spending time with Danny DeVito is like an eternity.
Yeah.
Colin, you've already said that there was no shepherding necessary for your movie kids. What were you doing on this film?
As little as possible, knowing that much of the work was done for me and around me.
He was lassoing dogs on his off time.
Lassoing pink poodles. You're safe, don't worry about it. I said poodles, not humans. Yes, indeed. And I left my rope at home. Moving on swiftly. I mean, you know, I was playing, as Tim was saying, I think everyone in the character is at odds with either their past or what's going on in the present or both. And so I was playing a father who's disenfranchised from his kids, disenfranchised from a life that he left behind that's completely different by the time he comes back from fighting in the First War. He's physically a different man. He's lost his left arm. He's seen a lot of brutality. I mean, we don't get into all that psychological stuff so heavy because we want the film to be able to be received with the importance of the messages that are in it rather than hitting them all over the head. But my character's journey was one in just accepting his position as father, and how that meant that all he had to do really was get out of his children's way and let them be who they are.
Tim, you mentioned briefly that this is the Dumbo is about kind of leaving behind things that other people might perceive as a weakness and turning it into a strength. So I was thinking about a journey as an artist. Seems like it could be something similar. Eva, do you think that applies to your work at all? Do you identify with that theme?
Feeling like an outsider? Right now, I do. Yeah, I mean, I think you don't have to be an artist to feel like an outsider. I think everybody has felt at some point kind of a bit strange or different, and yeah, it's a big thing. It's such a wonderful movie because it has that message of, like, you know, it's okay to be, you know, strange or different. It's actually great. It makes you special, and we just have to embrace our uniqueness.
Can you expand on the training that you did in order to first of all, conquer your fear of heights, but also to be this performer in the circus so elegantly?
Yeah, I mean, I had the most amazing circus people who were very patient, very kind with me, because I was absolutely petrified. I thought I would never be able to do that. And so, yeah, for like 2 months, every day, I trained, you know, and you needed like a very strong core as well. Had very strong abs, very strong arms, and then little by little, I went higher and higher and higher. And that was amazing. I found a trick. It was to sing as well, to really, in French, like, whoa, you know, off you go, and you swear and you sing. And I surprised myself. It was a miracle. Yeah.
Well, you absolutely look like you were born to be on a trapeze. I mean, it was just amazing.
In fact, we have one set up here now.
Hey, okay, let's hoist her up.
We spent a long time doing this.
Hi, this is such a beautiful film. I'd like to know, what do you hope for the whole panel kids will take away from seeing this movie?
The same thing adults take away for the importance of, you know, not just accepting the inherent difference that people have from each other in relation to each other, but celebrating it, you know. I just think there, as Tim was saying, there are simple messages that are very complex, it seems, to live in as we go on through our lives, and those messages are messages of kindness and inclusion and all those kind of things, so that'd be cool. Or else, if they're just entertained for a couple of hours, I'll take that as well.
But also just with like the Disney movies, for me the reason I wanted to do it was like the old Disney movies had all these elements, you know, they had joy, they had humor, they had let's go 9 rounds. Okay. What was I talking about?
Joy.
Death, you know, everything, you know, stuff like our taboo subjects. But
you skip so deftly from joy and humor to death.
I emphasize that one too much.
Two sides of the same coin.
The mixture of those things. And so like Colin was saying, we tried to present these things without overdoing it in a fable-like way, but let it present itself and not just sort of dictate it and just show these people for what they're going through and who they are.
Mr. Burton, I'm a huge fan of your work. I love it's a dream to speak to you, but I was wondering what draws you to a performer or an artist? What qualities do you look for? Because you often work with the same actor. I know, especially he's on the end. What draws you to a performer or artist?
Well, it's very simple, and in this particular case, it's a few things.
Oh yeah, they gotta hear you say they all look weird.
Well, there's a point, because Dumbo, it's a heightened reality. So for me, there's two different things. There was one, because it's a weird story about weird family, it was very special to me to work with, people like that I've worked with, Michael, Danny, and Colin. I feel like I've worked with him for many years because he's got the same kind of spirit. And meeting Nico and Finley, everybody, and Alan Arkin, having like a family, weird dysfunctional family, like the film is and like the movie Circus is, was just very beautiful and important. And the spirit of all of them really meant the world to me in terms of what the movie is and the spirit that they all put into it. And because it's like a weird elephant, I had one thing in the back of my mind, all the people had to look kind of weird. Naturally. In a good way.
And coming from an actual dysfunctional family, I felt like I fit right.
It was like Thanksgiving dinner.
Huge fan, loved this film. Have to ask Michael and Danny, so good to see you guys back on screen together. What was it like coming back together to perform, but in kind of an opposite role?
Yeah, it was great. That was really terrific. When Tim called a year ago or whatever it was and said he was making the movie, I was really thrilled to be able to be part of it. And then, the joy factor went up through the roof when I heard that Michael was in it with me, and because we're
part of the joy factor was the first thing he reminded me was he got to be the hero and I got to be the bad guy. He was just thrilled with that.
Hey, once in a while, how's it feel to be the bad guy? Him in the mask and the whole Batman thing. I mean, it's just too much for me. And and me always being the gross penguin, grunting and groaning and stuff. I was really so nice to be with him in the movie, and everybody who's in the movie with us all together. Like Tim says, this great family that he creates, and he is the, we're all the weirdos, but there is one really weird daddy down the end who's like pulling all the strings, so we were really thrilled to be together.
Welcome to the island of misfit toys.
Hi, this is for Tim. The separation between Dumbo and his mother remind me the separation at the border from children and parents. It was something that came on your mind when you created the scene?
Well, I think any family situation, but every family is different. Like, I'm different. For me, I wish I'd been separated from my parents, but that's a different story. But, most people would go, you want to separate anybody from your parents. That's fine. So, I think about things just more in a spiritual, simple way. There's news, and I listen to the news and everything, but I always take things from a more, I try to anyway, a human point of view that way, and because it's like a fable, and all great fables tap into things that are true about today and human nature and all things, but it's not literal. And that's all these people. It's a period movie. It's a fable. It touches on all these things, but we try not to make it like ripped from today's headlines,
Yeah. Well, the movie was made in 1941, and in 1941, if you remember the movie, the 63-minute Disney movie masterpiece from that era, the baby was separated from his mom. So I don't think it has anything to do with it. this unfortunate, horrifying thing that's going on in our current news.
Two separate things, but I'm just going to say this. Thanks for bringing it up. Keep it in the consciousness, because it's criminal, it's cruel, and I don't think it borders on child abuse. I think it does.
Another outsider.
I mean, I don't, not necessarily, except the fact is that theme comes up because I can't help it, you know what I mean? It's like part of your DNA, so it's not that I consciously think about that, but you know, it's just, you know, once you're branded that way, no matter how you feel, that's what, you know, that's the themes that keep reoccurring to you, because that's...
It was Michael Keaton's wig in this movie.
Yeah. Well, no, I was eating Kentucky Fried Chicken one day. I think after the Batman thing, right? Michael, that's why I didn't talk to him for 20 years. You don't want to put that damn suit back on, you know, like. So, for the character, this one, it was like maximum, like, well, my character, because he don't like ties, so his character wouldn't wear a tie, right? Yeah. The great stuff, but all for the character. And he was great. You know, you put on clothes, and we did that on Beetlejuice. Like, you try things on, and then you become like a character.
Yeah. I regret the wig in a lot of ways because it's so great and weird and odd and kind of off-putting, but and so well done. So what happened was I thought about it and I thought, man, I really don't like sitting in the makeup chair for very long, or hair and makeup, I just don't like to be there. So I thought, I'm not going to say anything. And he didn't say anything, but you know, once I showed up and Colin Atwood is an unbelievable genius, as is truly Daniel Day-Lewis. I mean that. That's a supreme compliment. This guy probably, if I called him, he'd probably go, yeah, I'm in. I'd probably do that. She's so unbelievable. So when I showed up and Tim was there, and he and I and Colleen were starting to, that's where you really start, and I'll bet Danny and Colin and everyone here will bear me out. That's where you really go from here to here with your character a lot of times. Once you feel the clothes, you start walking around in it. I remember in Johnny Dangerously, I immediately knew where to go when I started getting them. So when I was there and I had in the back of my head, I thought, oh man, I'm not going to mention the wig. Don't mention the wig. Don't say anything about a wig. And as soon as I said, hey, this is probably a dumb idea. What do you think about a wig? And his eyes lit up. I thought, shit. Now I got to wear this stupid wig. But I dug the wig. And the wig was now has its own agent, by the way.
But it's weird because it's like one of those ones you buy like on Hollywood.
Yeah.
And but I put it on, and I actually felt really better as a person.
Weird.
The microphone is coming down towards you. Everybody just really ponder that wig. Yes. Why don't you go ahead first?
And Caballero from Hollywood, or Tim, what was the biggest challenge as director and producer in working on Dumbo?
Well, I think the weirdest thing on this movie was we had all these great people. Oh, sorry. You have all these great actors. The biggest challenge, I guess, was you have all these people. You have amazing sets. Colleen, Rick, the art director, amazing. The only thing that's missing is the main character. You know, that's a very, very unnerving thing to kind of be going into something, and you know what you want, you know what you're trying to go for. You can even see rough animation, but until it materializes, it's scary. You know, you just don't know. And so all these people are suspending disbelief for everything to make the main character there and believable. So I think that was the biggest challenge. And like I said, Dumbo just arrived about a week ago, you know, full finding.